The air crackles with anticipation. Eminem, the rap god, the lyrical assassin, has dropped a bombshell. After decades of pushing boundaries and igniting controversy, Slim Shady, his infamous alter ego, is taking a final bow. The news, delivered through the rapper's latest album announcement, has sent shockwaves through the music world and beyond. Fans are both ecstatic and heartbroken. Critics are sharpening their pencils, ready to dissect the final chapter in this unparalleled career. One thing is certain, the legacy of Slim Shady is forever etched in the annals of music history. Eminem's career has been a roller coaster of triumph and tribulation, fueled by the raw, unfiltered persona of Slim Shady. From the gritty streets of Detroit to the global stage, Slim Shady has remained a constant source of fascination and debate. His lyrics, often shocking and laced with dark humor, have challenged societal norms, sparked outrage, and ignited important conversations about censorship, mental health, and the underbelly of American culture. Slim Shady's final act promises to be a powerful and poignant reflection of a career that has captivated and challenged us for over 2 decades. This isn't just the end of an album cycle, it's a cultural moment. Slim Shady's influence transcends music. He's a cultural icon, a lightning rod for controversy, and a voice for the voiceless. His impact on hip-hop and popular culture is undeniable, inspiring countless artists and shaping the landscape of music for a generation. As we prepare for the final curtain call, it's time to look back at the tumultuous journey of Slim Shady, exploring the controversies, the artistry, and the enduring legacy of one of music's most complex and compelling figures. Get ready for the final chapter. Slim Shady is about to deliver his magnum opus, a closing statement that will undoubtedly leave us reeling, reflecting, and perhaps even a little nostalgic for the era of the rap god's reign. It's the end of an era, the closing of a chapter that redefined hip-hop and pushed the boundaries of artistic expression. Brace yourselves, because Slim Shady is going out with a bang. Before the Grammys, before the Diamond albums, before the global fame, there was Marshall Mathers, a young man grappling with poverty, anger, and the harsh realities of life on the fringes of Detroit. Music became his outlet, a way to channel his frustrations and articulate the struggles of a generation disillusioned with the American dream. It was from this crucible of hardship and creative hunger that Slim Shady, Eminem's alter ego, was born. Slim Shady wasn't a polished pop star, he was the antithesis. He was raw, unapologetic, and brutally honest, a reflection of Eminem's own inner demons and the dark underbelly of society he witnessed firsthand. With his bleached blonde hair, crazed eyes, and a sinister grin, Slim Shady became the mouthpiece for Eminem's most controversial and thought-provoking lyrics. He was a caricature of the worst impulses of humanity, a vessel for exploring the darkest corners of the human psyche. The world got its first taste of Slim Shady in 1997 with the release of Eminem's debut album, Slim Shady LP. The album, fueled by the hit singles My Name Is and Guilty Conscience, catapulted Eminem into the spotlight, introducing the world to his unique brand of darkly comedic and shockingly honest hip-hop. Slim Shady became an instant cultural phenomenon, his image plastered on magazine covers and his lyrics debated in households across America. The album's success was both a blessing and a curse. It brought Eminem fame and recognition, but also thrust him into the center of a firestorm of controversy. Critics accused him of misogyny, homophobia, and glorifying violence. Politicians denounced his music, and parent groups rallied to censor his lyrics. Eminem, however, remained defiant, using the controversy to fuel his art and solidify Slim Shady's image as a cultural provocateur. Slim Shady wasn't designed to appease. He was a middle finger to the status quo, a battering ram against the walls of decency. His lyrics, laced with profanity, violence, and dark humor, were a shock to the system, challenging the norms of what was considered acceptable in popular music. Eminem, through Slim Shady, was poking the bear, and the bear reacted with predictable fury. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Politicians, religious groups, and concerned parents united in their condemnation of Eminem's music, decrying it as obscene, misogynistic, and a threat to the moral fabric of society. His lyrics, they argued, glorified violence, disrespected women, and promoted hate speech. The debate raged on in the media, with Eminem becoming a lightning rod for discussions about censorship, free speech, and the role of art in society. One of the most prominent voices in the chorus of criticism was Lynn Cheney, then the Second Lady of the United States, who publicly denounced Eminem's music as vile and destructive. Her condemnation, along with the outrage from other public figures, only served to amplify Eminem's notoriety and solidify his status as a cultural renegade. The more they tried to silence him, the louder his voice became, resonating with a generation that felt disenfranchised and misunderstood. The controversy surrounding Slim Shady reached its peak in 2000 with the release of the Marshall Mathers LP. The album, a commercial juggernaut, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and went on to become one of the fastest-selling albums in history. It was a critical and commercial triumph, solidifying Eminem's position as one of the most important and influential artists of his generation. But the album's success came at a price. Beyond the shock value and the controversies, there was an undeniable truth. Eminem was a lyrical genius. His command of language, his intricate rhyme schemes, and his ability to craft complex narratives within the structure of a song were unparalleled in hip-hop. Critics, even those who denounced his content, couldn't deny his technical prowess. Eminem's wordplay was razor-sharp, his metaphors vivid and often disturbing. He could paint pictures with his words, creating cinematic scenes of violence, despair, and dark humor. His flow was equally impressive, effortlessly switching between rapid-fire delivery and melodic cadences. He could be aggressive and confrontational one moment, introspective and vulnerable the next. But Eminem's true brilliance lay in his ability to blur the lines between reality and fiction. He used Slim Shady as a vessel to explore the darkest corners of his psyche, to confront his demons, and to process the pain and anger of his upbringing. This raw honesty resonated with listeners, who connected with the vulnerability beneath the bravado. The Marshall Mathers LP showcased Eminem's artistic evolution. It wasn't just about shock value, it was about storytelling, about delving into complex themes of identity, fame, mental illness, and the corrosive influence of media culture. Songs like Stan, a chilling tale of obsessive fandom, and The Way I Am, a raw and introspective look at the pressures of fame, revealed a depth and vulnerability rarely seen in mainstream hip-hop. Section 5. Cultural Impact. A voice for the disenfranchised. Slim Shady's impact transcended music. He became a cultural icon, a symbol of rebellion and a voice for the disenfranchised. His music resonated with a generation grappling with feelings of alienation, anger, and frustration. He wasn't afraid to speak the unspeakable, to give voice to the rage and pain that many felt but couldn't articulate. Eminem's rise coincided with a period of intense social and political change. The late 1990s and early 2000s were marked by anxiety about globalization, economic uncertainty, and the rise of the internet. Young people in particular were searching for an outlet for their frustrations, a way to make sense of a world that seemed increasingly complex and chaotic. Slim Shady, with his raw honesty and unapologetic anger, provided that outlet. His music became a soundtrack for a generation. His lyrics, often autobiographical and brutally honest, reflected the struggles of working-class America, the challenges of broken homes, and the pressure to conform in a society that often felt unforgiving. He gave voice to the voiceless, speaking truth to power, and challenging the status quo. Eminem's influence could be seen in the fashion, language, and attitudes of youth culture. His style, a blend of hip-hop swagger and suburban angst, became iconic. His lyrics, peppered with slang and dark humor, infiltrated everyday conversation. He was a cultural force to be reckoned with, a reflection of the anxieties and frustrations of a generation coming of age in a time of rapid change. The critical response to Eminem's music was as complex and contradictory as the artist himself. Early in his career, he was met with widespread condemnation, with many critics dismissing him as a one-dimensional shock artist. His lyrics, they argued, were misogynistic, homophobic, and gratuitously violent, lacking the social consciousness and artistic merit of his hip-hop peers. However, as Eminem's career progressed, a shift began to occur in the critical discourse surrounding his work. Critics began to recognize the depth and complexity of his lyricism, the raw honesty of his storytelling, and his willingness to tackle difficult and uncomfortable subjects. His technical skills as a rapper were undeniable, and his ability to craft intricate rhyme schemes and memorable hooks earned him grudging respect from even his harshest critics. With the release of albums like the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show, Eminem began to receive widespread critical acclaim. Critics praised his growth as an artist, noting his willingness to experiment with different sounds and styles, as well as his increasing maturity in addressing personal and societal issues. He was hailed as a once-in-a-generation talent, a rapper who possessed both the lyrical dexterity to out-rap anyone in the game and the storytelling prowess to create songs that were both catchy and thought-provoking. Despite the growing critical acclaim, Eminem never fully escaped the controversy that had dogged him from the start. His detractors continued to criticize his use of offensive language and his depictions of violence, arguing that his music normalized and even glorified harmful attitudes and behaviors. As Eminem matured, so did his music. The raw anger and shock value that defined his early work gave way to more introspective and nuanced themes. He grappled with the trappings of fame, the complexities of relationships, and the challenges of fatherhood. His lyrics, though still laced with his signature dark humor, revealed a vulnerability and self-awareness that resonated with a wider audience. The evolution of Eminem's music reflected a broader shift in hip-hop culture. As the genre gained mainstream acceptance, artists began to experiment with more personal and introspective themes. Eminem, never one to shy away from pushing boundaries, was at the forefront of this evolution, using his platform to explore the complexities of his own identity and the challenges of navigating fame and fortune. One of the most notable changes in Eminem's music was his evolving perspective on women. While his early work was often criticized for its misogynistic lyrics, his later albums featured more complex and nuanced portrayals of women, including songs that expressed regret for past mistakes and acknowledged the pain he had caused. Eminem's growth as an artist was also evident in his willingness to use his platform to address social and political issues. He tackled topics such as racism, police brutality, and political corruption, using his music to shed light on injustices and inequalities. His songs became a call to action, urging listeners to engage with the world around them and fight for change. Slim Shady's legacy is a tapestry woven from contradictions. He is both revered and reviled, celebrated for his artistry while condemned for his transgressions. He is a cultural icon who has left an undeniable mark on music, film, and popular culture, yet he remains a polarizing figure, a lightning rod for debates about censorship, free speech, and the role of art in society. On the one hand, there's no denying Slim Shady's impact on hip-hop. He revolutionized the genre, injecting it with a raw, confessional style that shattered taboos and pushed the boundaries of lyrical creativity. He inspired countless artists, paving the way for a generation of rappers to embrace vulnerability, explore dark themes, and challenge societal norms. Beyond music, Slim Shady became a cultural phenomenon, his image emblazoned on everything from t-shirts to video games. His influence seeped into fashion, language, and even politics. He became a symbol of rebellion and angst, a voice for the disenfranchised and the marginalized. His story, one of overcoming poverty and adversity to achieve global stardom, resonated with millions. On the other hand, Slim Shady's legacy is forever intertwined with controversy. His lyrics, often laced with profanity, violence, and hate speech, sparked outrage and ignited debates about censorship and artistic responsibility. He was accused of misogyny, homophobia, and glorifying violence, charges that continue to dog him to this day. The debate surrounding Slim Shady reflects a broader cultural tension between freedom of expression and the responsibility to protect marginalized groups from harm. It's a debate with no easy answers, one that is likely to continue long after the final curtain falls on Slim Shady's career. As Slim Shady prepares to take his final bow, the music world holds its breath. What will his final act entail? Will he go out with a bang, delivering a blistering critique of society's ills? Or will he offer a more introspective reflection on his tumultuous career and the legacy he leaves behind? One thing is certain, Slim Shady's final chapter will be anything but predictable. This is an artist who has made a career out of defying expectations, shattering norms, and pushing boundaries. He has never shied away from controversy, and it's unlikely he'll start now. The announcement of Slim Shady's impending retirement has sparked a wave of nostalgia among fans and critics alike. It's a reminder of an era when hip-hop was still considered dangerous, when artists weren't afraid to challenge the status quo, and when Eminem's raw, unfiltered voice shook the foundations of popular culture. Love him or hate him, there's no denying Eminem's impact. He has left an indelible mark on music, film, and popular culture, sparking conversations and challenging assumptions along the way. His career has been a roller coaster ride of triumph and tribulation, fueled by the raw, unfiltered persona of Slim Shady. As the curtain falls on Slim Shady's career, one can't help but wonder, what will be his legacy? Will he be remembered as a provocateur, a misogynist, a genius, or all of the above? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, the world will never forget the name Slim Shady.